Good evening, Columbus community. It is Board President Adair, and I am calling our April 7th board meeting to order. May we please have the roll?
President Adair,
Present.
Ms. Beckerly,
Present.
Mr. Brown,
I'm here.
Mr. Cole, Dr. Pierce,
Present.
Mr. Ragland,
Here.
and Vice President Reyes.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. This evening, because our students are on spring break, we are going to have our superintendent lead us in the pledge. Dr. Dixon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. So those might have noticed that we had a different person calling the roll this evening. Mr. Gooding is standing in for our treasurer who's on vacation. And actually we need to make him official. So I'm going to ask for a motion to appoint a treasurer pro tempore, Vice President Reyes.
Thank you, President Adair. Whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 3313.23 requires that the board, when the treasurer is absent from any meeting of the board, to choose one of its members to serve in his place pro temp. And whereas Mr. Bohor, treasurer, is absent from the meeting, now therefore be it resolved that the board appoint Scott Gooding to serve as treasurer pro temp in the absence of the treasurer for the duration of the meeting and this meeting only.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Will you please call the roll?
President Adair,
Yes.
Ms. Beckerly,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Pierce,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
and Vice President Reyes.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Gooding, for serving in this capacity for this meeting. Okay, board members, before you, we have an agenda. You have your agenda. We have two individuals to speak to us for public comment this evening. We are anticipating no reports from our direct reports. We have our consent agenda. And then, of course, we will have board announcements. We will have an executive session and come back to public meeting for our adjournment. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
A motion to approve.
Your second.
Second.
Vice President Reyes seconded. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Beckerly,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Pierce,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Vice President Reyes,
Yes.
President Adair.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you so much. All right. So we have no board recognitions this evening in item 4. So we'll move to item 5, where we hear from the public. We have two individuals who have requested to speak to the board. We have Board Liaison Nichols, who has the first caller, I believe, on the phone. Each individual has 4 minutes to address the board. The first caller is Allison Hayden. I'm sorry, I know I didn't say your name correctly. And her topic is CCS student return 4 or 5 days per week. The action requested, she would like the board to request transparency for the reasons why CCS is not returning students for more in-person instruction. Board Liaison Nichols.
President Adair, the speaker's on the line.
Thank you. You have 4 minutes to address the board.
Good evening, President Adair, Vice President Reyes, Superintendent Dixon, and the Columbus City School Board. Thank you very much for having me this evening. I promise I'll be brief, far less than 4 minutes. I by way of introduction, I'm a CCS parent. I have 2 daughters in kindergarten and in 2nd grade. And I'm here today to talk to the board about a desire to return students 4 or 5 days per week for instruction, at least for the smallest learners to start with. And I come to the board today heavy with worry, and I worry that if we don't do this now, that the uncertainty will carry over into summer and into the start of the school year, leaving families like mine stressed and facing difficult conversations about next school year, what it looks like, and what will be available to our families. As I'm sure the board is well aware, all other Franklin County schools have increased their school days to at least 4. And the 2 schools that are at 4 days have plans to be at 5 before the end of the year. And I'm sure that the board is also abundantly aware that Cincinnati and Dayton have moved to 5 days a week, with Toledo set to follow on April 19th. In fact, according to the Toledo district's website, they're prepping classrooms for return next week. So I come to the board today hoping for greater transparency about what the challenges and barriers are now that teachers and staff have all been offered vaccines and the CDC has indicated that 3 feet of social distancing as acceptable. I would note that those were key factors that were cited by Cincinnati, Toledo, and Dayton in their return plans. And really, I hope that you can help the parents understand so that we can be partners in this process, because that's certainly what I would hope for. So in conclusion, my ask is for the board to consider additional in-school days, at least for the youngest learners this school year. I understand that middle schoolers and high schools are different in a number of ways. Vaccines are imminently coming for them, and there may be some wisdom in waiting there. I can also understand a decision to stay with the current plan for the rest of this school year. I know that CCS is a big ship to turn. We're the biggest ship, and the parents know that. But if that's the case, then my alternative ask would be to help parents understand what plans look like for the fall, because we need to be able to plan and make choices. In recognition of this very idea, Cincinnati just this week announced fall plans with 3 different options, one of which is 5 days a week in person. And so I would like to see the board do that same thing for CCS parents, to allow us to plan and to find out what our future looks like. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. I would thank you very much for your time and for your consideration tonight.
Thank you so much for addressing the board and bringing your concerns forward. Board members, are there any clarifying questions? I don't see any, and I know that there will be announcements about the fall coming, and make sure that you tune into the parent portal and the Facebook, and don't forget about summer experience. That is a 4-day in-person at school experience with field trips. So this summer we are moving to a more fully in-person model. So make sure you take advantage of that. So thank you so much for coming. And I as a parent too am anticipating all the exciting news about fall 2021. All right, our next speaker is Stephanie Rower, and the topic she will be addressing is return to school 5 days per week, the board action. Develop and implement the plan for 5 days per week for in-person schooling. So we will wait for Board Liaison Nichols to come back with the caller.
President Adair, the speaker's on the line.
Thank you. You have 4 minutes to address the board. You may begin.
Thank you. Good evening, President Adair, Vice President Reyes, Treasurer Vahoric, Internal Auditor Smith, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Dixon. Thank you for allowing me time to share my thoughts here today. My name is Stephanie Rower, and I have a kindergartner in CCS. This has been a year of many firsts. In the midst of this pandemic, I am grateful my daughter has been able to have some in-person time with her teacher. Thank you for getting us to this point. My primary concern is that it is unclear what plans are in place for full in-person instruction for the 2021-22 school year. Though the current school year is not over, I'm looking ahead and wondering what fall may bring for students across the district in all grade levels. CCS website information is limited to the current school year, and the hybrid learning model we have today cannot be a forever solution. On a personal note, I worry that the first 2 years of my child's formal schooling will be spent primarily behind a computer without the benefit of substantive peer and teacher interaction. The struggle to maintain interest, enthusiasm for learning, and peer connectedness is real. I am seeing this in my child right now. I am desperate for a solution, and I am desperate for your action. 5 days a week, in-person learning is happening now in other comparably sized cities and school districts around Ohio, like Cincinnati, for example. I am optimistic we can follow suit, but we have not yet seen or heard of CCS's plan to do so. Parents are left wondering, are we in for a repeat of this past year? What are the key barriers for making full in-person instruction happen? What is the plan for overcoming these barriers? And where are we in the planning and implementation process? So far, we have no answers, and the not knowing is stressful. We cannot predict the future of the path of this pandemic. However, we do have data-driven guidance from the CDC and the Ohio Department of Health, so it seems full-time in-person instruction can be realized while ensuring the health and wellness of our children, our teachers, and our staff. I'm asking the board to provide us current plans for CCS reopening that include: 1, a clear timeline and progress tracker posted to the website where community members can see where we are in the reopening process and what steps remain. 2, data-driven criteria and thresholds for moving between learning modes. And 3, clear and up-to-date information specific to the barriers to and proposed solutions for in-person learning in CCS. The more clear and timely information we have as parents, the better prepared we can be to make decisions that are best for our children. I thank the board members for their time and look forward to your action on this important topic.
Thank you so much for addressing the board. Board members, any clarifying questions? Dr. Pierce?
This isn't so much a question, but I do want to thank our parent for calling in, identifying one of the challenges that many of our parents and caregivers face, but also being able to clearly identify solutions to that. I think the timeline tracker, the data-driven are excellent ways to be able to really pinpoint and help our parents and caregivers understand when our students will be back in the classroom more often. So thank you so much for not just pointing out the challenges, but also bringing a solution to the table.
Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for addressing the board this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, board members, I made a mistake and we need to go back up to item 2.1. And I actually said the wrong person's name to become our treasurer pro tempore. So you said what I said. So we'll just start it. We'll just do it again. So I need a motion to reconsider item 2.1 and instead name board member Michael Cole. It has to be a member of the Board of Education. So that was my fault. It was written correctly. I said it wrong.
President Adair, with Michael Cole not on the meeting, you'll need to appoint.
He's actually here. He's here. We're just trying to get him connected.
I got it. Okay, we're good. I just didn't see him on the screen, so I just wanted to make sure we're good. Okay.
If you look at the meeting, just so everyone's clear, Michael, can you wave your arms like this?
Oh, I see him.
See him? Okay, he's in the room.
He hasn't left the building.
So what we'll need to do is we'll need a motion
On
and
that
second to
basis-
reconsider 2.1, and then we vote on the amended 2.1 again.
Well,
Thank you.
Tina's got that motion and I'm seconding.
There we
Thank
go.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we need a roll call on that, or can we just go into the
Yes.
second?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll do
go
a roll
ahead.
call on this one. Mr. Brown,
Yes,
Mr. Cole, can you wave your arms if you're in favor?
He's there.
He's
There we-
connecting.
Okay, we saw him down there. Okay. Dr. Pierce,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Vice President Reyes,
Yes.
President Adair,
Yes.
Ms. Beckerly.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. Now Vice President Reyes will read it correctly. Sorry, that was my fault.
Okay, whereas Ohio Revised Code, section 3313.23 requires the board, when the treasurer is absent from any meeting of the board, to choose one of their members to serve in his place pro temp. And whereas Mr. Behor, treasurer, is absent from this meeting, now therefore be it resolved that the board appoint Michael Cole to serve as treasurer pro temp in the absence of the treasurer for the duration of this meeting and this meeting only.
Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Dr. Pierce,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Vice President Reyes,
Yes.
President Adair,
Yes.
Ms. Beckerly,
Yes.
and Mr. Brown.
yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move to item 6, which is a report from our superintendent. Turn it over to you, Dr. Dixon.
Thank you, Board President Adair. I don't have a formal report tonight, but I do want to first say thank you to Berwick. I have their mask on tonight. I wanted to make sure I gave shout outs to all the students at Berwick K-8. And also a couple reminders, summer school. So we also, as you stated, it'll be in-person summer school for 4 days each week. And we have total of over 2,000 students who are registered. We have our media campaign has started. So we have our radio ads, et cetera. So families, please make sure to go to our website and you can still register our students for summer school. Our target is 10,000 students. So we have all the information posted on the website, promotional videos, flyers are available in English and our top 5 non-English language. We also provide toolkits for COSI, Franklin Park Conservatory. And we also have radio ads on Urban One, iHeartMedia stations, TV ad also is running on Urban One, and social media ads. So families, please, 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 we are targeting 10,000 students. There is no cost for summer school, and we're excited to be having our students back in person 4 days a week for summer school. So that's the only announcement that I wanted to make tonight. And as we learn from summer school, and we are planning, for those who are listening, we've already started planning for the fall. Many may have not heard, but I announced a few weeks ago that we would go back to in-person learning this fall. And we have our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. John Stanford, who is leading that team, that planning team for the fall and the options. So more to come to all our families about what the fall and the options will look like, but we will be back 5 days in person for the fall and also 4 days in person for our summer school program. And those are just the 2 announcements I wanted to make today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dixon. Are there any questions for Dr. Dixon on any of those announcements? Okay, thank you. We will now move to the internal auditor, Auditor Smith. Good to see you.
Thank you, President Adair. Good to see you also. I do not have an announcement or report for this evening. I do have a brief announcement. Audit and Accountability is scheduled to meet April the 22nd. We will have a conference with our auditors that is not a public meeting, but you all will receive an invitation. Following that meeting at 3:30, we will be having our regularly scheduled Audit and Accountability Committee meeting. And that's all I have for this evening.
Well, thank you. It is always good to see you.
Thank you.
And now we'll move over to the treasurer's office.
There, fortunately or unfortunately, there is no report on behalf of Treasurer Behort this evening.
Thank you for filling in for me this evening.
You're welcome.
It's just
Whoever was
Senator,
just talking, I couldn't hear it.
what you were saying. You might want to repeat that.
Yes, Madam President, you went out.
I got it. It's because if someone in the room is unmuted when I'm talking, the room gets confused. So you gotta stay muted if you're in the room with me in person. I was just thanking Mr. Gooding for being here and filling in for the treasurer who's on vacation. So that was all. No big thing there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move into our consent agenda. Our consent agenda consists of items 11.1 to 24.4. Are there any items that any member would like to remove from consent tonight? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve our consent agenda?
A motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any items on the consent agenda you wish to discuss? Seeing none, may I have the rolls?
Dr. Pierce,
Aside from 14.2, which I'm abstaining, yes.
got that. Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Vice President Reyes,
Yes.
President Adair,
Yes.
Ms. Beckerly,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Motion carried.
You? And hold on. Okay. All right, now you can hear me. All right, so we now are in item 25.1, which is announcements from the Board of Education. Any member have an announcement this evening they'd like to share? No? Oh, Dr. Pierce and Board Member Ragland, did you have your hand up? You're kind of being jumpy on your, yes, okay. So we'll go Dr. Pierce, then Board Member Ragland.
Thank you so much, President Adair. I just want to, just extend a very happy spring break to all of our students. I hope during this time, they are taking the opportunity to really refresh and renew, having the opportunity to enjoy this beautiful weather, but also want to encourage our community to look out for our students, to ensure that they have safe spaces to be in, whether that's one of our school parking lots, playgrounds, facilities, buildings around our community. We need everybody to wrap your hands around our students as they are out enjoying this spring break. That's my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Ragland.
Thank you. On April 19th, that is Monday at 7 p.m., we will have the first Region 2 Facilities Master Plan Community Engagement session. Please feel free to tune into the district Facebook page and join us as we discuss facilities and what our students are going to need going into the future. Once again, that is April 19 at 7 p.m. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Board Member Ragland. Board Member Brown.
Thank you. Just two things briefly. First, our meeting of what's been called the Policy Review Committee will be tomorrow morning. Believe it is at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, 8:30 tomorrow morning till 10. And anybody is welcome. We're going to spend nearly all of our time working through the proposed governance charter, which also includes the name change. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, there was a second item. Just wanted to remind everybody, or let you know, tomorrow is also Yom HaShoah. Yom HaShoah is the Days of Remembrance, is the day that most of the Jewish community and many others commemorate the Holocaust and the loss of 6 million Jews. The genocide, the total number of people was much, much higher. And it's a reminder, especially at this time, this year, with as much hate as we all see, with as much violence as we all see, that, on the one hand, we always need to be sensitive and aware and stand up to hate and speak out. And secondly, part of the lesson is that things will get better. And it's been many years since that time. We have very few living survivors still with us. The numbers are quickly dwindling, and yet there were a number of people that survived and learned, and always looking for a silver lining. It's tough with this, but things will go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Brown. Any other announcements? Okay, seeing none, then we will move into executive session. And Vice President Reyes has the motion.
I move that the Board of Education recess into executive session per section 121.22 G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to confer with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Vice President Reyes,
Yes.
President Adair,
Yes.
Ms. Beckerly,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Dr. Pierce.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you so much. So members of staff who are not joining us, you are free then to go. And we will come back to this part of the meeting to adjourn our business meeting after executive session. So thank you all. And those going to executive session, please click the button when it appears.
Have a great spring break, staff. Thank you all.